The Florida Horse Podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association.
Welcome to the Florida Horse Podcast, brought to you by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association. I'm Tammy Gantt, and I'm joined today by Sara Fennessy with Horse Farms Forever. Let's get started. Sara, thanks for coming in today. We really appreciate you coming and making time for us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about Horse Farms Forever and a little bit about the mission, because the folks with FTBOA and some of our members are from all over the country. And so they may not know the mission of Horse Farms Forever like those in Central Florida do.
Sure. So Horse Farms Forever is a nonprofit that was founded in 2018 with the mission and vision to protect Marion County's farmland preservation area. Our global brand is Horse Capital of the World, which
Yippee!
we're so lucky to share in with you. And so Horse Farms Forever really serves as a catalyst and a watchdog for that area to ensure that we are able to help guide and mitigate growth. Marion County is growing at such a rapid rate. It's so important that we are also working to help guide and direct that growth and protect the very thing that makes us so unique and special.
Yeah, Marion County, for those that aren't aware, is truly horse capital of the world, with more horses and ponies than any other county in the U.S.
That's right.
And it is the breeding region for thoroughbreds, which is so important for us here at Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners. And so I think with that background, it makes a really interesting conversation for us to talk about what type of challenge that you have coming up in the near future. And this is really important, not just for people in Marion County and in the farmland preservation area, which is what we're really looking at, but also for others in other parts of the country that might have to deal with land use issues and those changes that could affect their agriculture status.
Sure. So the farmland preservation area is largely zoned rural and agricultural. And within the land development code, there are certain stipulations and guidelines that have to be followed. The county has created these guidelines through not only the land development code, but the comprehensive plan. And these policies within are set forth to help, again, protect and enhance the rural and equestrian character of the farmland preservation area. So we are constantly monitoring every single development application that comes before Marion County. We are going through line by line and really taking a deep dive in to see what's going on in the county. And it's so important that we are involved in the forefront of that. So there's always something. There's always going to be something. Again, we're growing at a rapid rate. There is a development right now, which again will be one of many for the future, that is potentially going to have a serious impact on the farmland preservation area. And it would be detrimental if something like this were to go through. So
talk a little bit about what that project is, because I think at FTBOA, folks called us and said, there's a racetrack going in. Why are you not supportive? I'm like, no, it's a racetrack, truck stop, literally a truck stop, not with happened to have the name racetrack. And so, and not just a truck stop, I guess, a really mega complex, if you will.
Sure.
And so that is a concern for a couple reasons, because it's it's in the farmland preservation area.
Correct.
And that is a linchpin, because if something large could come in and push around people that are in support of farmland preservation and get that to change, then that also could give others opportunity to kind of nibble away at our preservation area, which is so key to us.
Exactly. An application like this has the potential to really literally blow the farmland preservation area open, and it really sets a precedent for developers to come in the future. And if something like this is able to happen, then what's to stop the next one? It's just a never-ending cycle. Currently, we are monitoring a truck stop, as you said, that is proposed in the farmland preservation area. And there are so many other wonderful opportunities for something like this, to take place in Marion County outside of the farmland preservation area. It's so important that we realize how priceless this land is, and once it's developed, it's gone forever. There's no coming back from it. So we are working really hard with the county, with our stakeholders, FTBOA, and with the very nice folks at Racetrack to hopefully help come up with a better solution for a development like that. But something like that would definitely set a precedent for the future, and it's extremely concerning.
Yeah, and you'll see some visuals while we're talking on screen that's going to show that that area is the 301 441
Correct.
Y. So for those that are familiar with our county, they'll be able to see exactly the land plot that we're talking about.
To be crystal clear, Racetrack is a fabulous organization, family owned, and they build beautiful facilities. We have no problem with Racetrack. We have no problem with the organization. What we have a problem with, obviously, is the location, the site that they have selected within the heart of the farmland preservation area.
And so, what are some actions that people can take? I know FTWA has our FTWA Farmland Preservation Task Force, and our group meets, and we had a meeting a couple weeks ago, and it was well attended. And these are by titans of our industry, but also business leaders in different sectors that can really have an impact by voicing their concerns or their suggestions to the county commission. And so we know there's some letters forthcoming from themselves and also here as an association to show our suggestions and concerns and what that should look like versus being in the FPA area.
Right. And so, again, the most impactful thing that people can do who want to support farmland preservation and our horse industry as a whole would be to get involved, to attend the public hearings. So, planning and zoning is set to hear this matter in November, and then again in December. It will go before the county commission. And anybody who shows up to speak, anybody who writes a letter in, that really does make a tremendous difference. The commissioners do hear you. The planning and zoning commissioners do hear you. And at the end of the day, if there's enough public input and support for preservation, our county really will listen. So that is the most impactful thing that people can do, is to be involved. And as you said, to contact our local elected officials and to let them know that this is not the future that we all foresee for Marion County.
Yeah, and you contact them in a conversational way. It shouldn't be confrontational. It should
Absolutely.
be conversational because it's a
Absolutely.
grassroots effort, and we're letting
Yes.
folks know, hey, this is my land. This is the economic impact I make. This is the footprint I have when I have folks that work for me, the jobs, and then also the land I conserve through my businesses. So those
Absolutely.
three things I think are key that someone puts into a letter,
Yes.
and there are examples of letters available from Horse Farms Forever for those that are interested. But I'm going to take it a step back further. I think it's great to do what that we're doing there. Let's do a letter writing campaign. But if somebody's really truly wanting farmland preservation within our state and especially within this county, they really need to join Horse Farms Forever, because Horse Farms Forever can only function when people become members, and they don't have to necessarily be activated members, but when they share $1 with you or a membership at any type of level, that helps you be able to do all the work behind the scenes that needs to get done for that county commission meeting, because the commission meeting isn't the end result.
Right.
That's a work for months and months ahead of time.
Absolutely. And again, this is, one of many things. There will always be something. There is a tremendous need for somebody to really be a champion for, keeping an eye out on our industry and our horse farms. So we are a nonprofit. And when people support Horse Farms Forever, I like to say you're not just supporting an organization, you're not just supporting a nonprofit, you are literally supporting this way of life that we are trying to advocate for. And at the end of the day, we all win and we all succeed when we have balance and when we can maintain our farmland preservation area, the economy, everything that our equine industry does here for the state. It's so critically important, and I am so thankful that there is an organization like Horse Farms Forever to help champion this effort.
Yeah, and you're so well spoken to explain that. And I think people come here for the scenic vistas,
Yes.
and they come here to have their horse farms. But in addition to that, Horse Farms Forever also, while the word horse is in the name, it's agricultural protection. So when you say
Absolutely.
farmland preservation area, if you're a farm that does not have equine, but you're a farm in that area and you raise cattle or sheep or goats, apparently we're the number one county for sheep and goats.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that, in addition to horses.
Mhm.
So we've got quite a huge agricultural imprint, and that's important for, again, the people coming here for the scenic vistas, for the equine tourism, but also those that have other agriculture endeavors.
Absolutely. And Horse Farms Forever, we are so fortunate and so blessed to have the support. So as you mentioned, there are all of the folks that are within the farmland preservation area, but we're also so fortunate to have been so widely embraced by the business community. Many of Marion County's largest developers, realtors, businesses, they are all a member of Horse Farms Forever because they all recognize, again, the benefit of the equine industry to their business. Every restaurant, every hotel, anything shop, you name it, everybody is doing exponentially better because of our equine industry. It's what draws people to Ocala and Marion County from all over the world. We're just so fortunate for that.
Yeah, $2.6 billion
Yes.
economic impact, 1 in 5 jobs,
Mhm.
18 to 20% of the GDP equine. So,
Yeah.
so the business leaders understand that impact and also understand the significance overall to have a healthy community.
Yes.
For sure. And so another part of Horse Farms Forever that I think a few folks don't realize is while you have some huge high-profile sponsors like
Mhm.
FTBOA and a number of large historical farms,
Mhm.
your bread and butter too comes from those folks that have the smaller farms and
Yes.
makes those smaller sponsorship amounts. And so if someone says, well, I only have $500 to support, that $500 goes a long way and is
Absolutely.
equally as important. And that voice is equally as important as other sponsors. And so I would say to someone, if you have $250, that's okay, up to as much as you would want to do, and you can do it over long term, because I think some folks see some of these really high profile farms and go,
Sure.
wait a second, we don't really need to help, they've got it covered. But the answer is no, we always need more help.
Absolutely. And what I always tell anybody who wants to support Horse Farms Forever, and we are so sincere in saying that it is not the dollar amount that counts, it's the friendship and the support, and we are stronger together. So our grassroots level members make up a critical and important component to our organization, and we would not exist without them. So membership starts out for as little as $25. We value and appreciate all of our members, any level. And
Yeah.
so we exist because of them.
Yeah, and it's their sphere of influence, right? Because then they're going to know people they can talk to about their hairdressers, their realtor, where they bought their car, and that really makes an impact in their own sphere of influence that they have. And so I
Mhm.
think that those all ripple out and create a stronger voice for everyone. So what that day they can't be at the county commission, but someone else that they know really well can be,
Mhm.
that's the kind of member that you're looking for, so that they can still
Absolutely.
make that impact.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit. We've got just a little bit of time left. Let's talk a little bit about your upcoming summit.
Mhm.
Give a little background, what that's going to be about, how it ties in with farmland preservation, and what you're looking forward to about it.
So we are really excited. Each year in the fall, we host our annual Conservation Summit, and we are so fortunate to partner with our other founding members at Ocala Breeder Sales to host the event. This year, the event is taking place November 16th. Doors open at 4 o'clock for a book signing with our keynote speaker, who is Carlton Ward Jr. with National Geographic. We are so excited to have
So
him.
cool.
It's truly going to be our most exciting one yet. We say that every year. They keep getting bigger and better, but I mean, it's hard to beat Carlton.
Yeah.
It's going to be really exciting. So Carlton Ward has a documentary that is currently on Disney Plus. It's on obviously National Geographic. You can find it on all your streaming devices, called Path of the Panther, and that's an award-winning film that was produced by Leonardo DiCaprio. And
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just to add to the flavor of it. So we're so excited to have him detail his journey on how he was able to help secure funding for the Florida Wildlife Corridor, which extends all the way from down south in the Everglades all the way up through the state of Florida. And the Greenway is really is there to help act as a place of
Yeah.
protection for animals,
And a throughway, I assume. Yeah.
exactly, a roadway for our animals. So, provides them the ability to travel throughout the state of Florida, and it's so important. So he was able to really help create that whole movement. He set up different traps throughout the state, and he actually captured footage and videos of the Florida panther. It was the first time in many, many years that a Florida panther had been seen on film.
Because they're very elusive and shy.
Exactly.
And so his task was a big one to do that. And then the results, because people say, well, how does that tie into farmland preservation.
Yep.
But it does, because those corridors are going to continue to hopefully expand through the state of Florida, and those that are existing are really, really important, not only for nature, but they also connect to the natural areas on farms, which have natural corridors for the wildlife that is native to Florida.
Absolutely. So the goal of the Florida Wildlife Corridor is to help create that cohesiveness and that conservation throughout the state. And so, fun fact, actually, 1/4 of Marion County is within the Florida Wildlife Corridor. So that's really exciting. It's expanded all the way through. So there's nobody better to help inspire and educate the community about the importance of conservation. And Carlton will also be joined by Mallory Likes Demet, who is the head of the Florida Wildlife Corridor Foundation, and Tracy Dean with Conservation Florida. So, two other very key partners.
A powerhouse lineup for sure.
Yes, we're very excited.
And I think farms will identify with the wildlife corridor, because I think all the farms here probably have spotting. They spot the wildlife. I have a bear on my property.
Yes.
I only have 5 acres. I have the wild bobcat,
Yes.
and I have a number of wildlife that use the berms around my farm to move from one place to another. And I know larger farms obviously have even more significant footprints of birds and wildlife and those natural animals that really are, this is their home too.
Exactly.
And so I think those folks that are in those with that background can tell those stories really well, and show folks the impact and the importance overall of how it all ties together.
Absolutely. So we're really excited. Again, the event is from 4 until about 7:30. There will be drinks and food, and we're just very excited to have the support of the community. And registration can be completed through our website at horsefarmsforever.com. And, for those who may not necessarily be completely interested in, National Geographic, or what does this have to do with what I have going on here, it's all about enhancing everyone's quality of life here in Florida. And we all stand to lose so much if we don't work to protect and preserve the old Florida and the most important parts, really the heart of our state. So we're very excited, and there's something for everybody in this program.
Yeah, and I think the program's just a well-done program. Even if you say, I'm not quite sure about the preservation side, but I'm going to come.
Yep.
I think it'll be eye-opening to meet these
Yes.
leaders and to see what they've done and see those connections. And I think the takeaways, as it's called, is a conversation, is that you'll have conversations with your neighbors and friends in Marion County and say, well, what can I do to make a difference?
Absolutely.
And that's how Marion County was founded, is the grassroots efforts, and our agricultural community being very strong, and our equine community being very strong. And so I really appreciate Horse Farms Forever carrying that bucket of water, and leading us into this next 50 years that we want to look back and say we did some things right. We have a beautiful vista that we can look at. We still have our farmland,
Right.
and growth was able to happen in a managed way outside that farmland preservation area.
Exactly. It's all about, working for a better tomorrow for our future generations. So
For sure. I appreciate you coming in, Sarah.
thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
The Florida Horse Podcast is presented by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association.